Okay, let's go.
What?
So, to begin, after war, we'll be able to play with death in Darksiders II. What are the main differences between the two characters?
So, Death, War was a lot more of a warrior archetype. He was kind of like, you know, heavy armor, giant sword. He was more of a tank, you know. Death is a lot more agile. He can run on walls. He fights with small weapons. He's a lot more aggressive. I think War was a more passive character. He reacted when things happened, and Death is just more in your face. He's kind of has a jerky personality too. Like, he's not the friendliest guy. And whereas War was all about justice and upholding honor and balance. Death is just more about kicking people's ass and killing them. So he's quite a bit of fun, and like gameplay wise, the combat feels a lot more fluid and a lot faster. We wanted to speed up the pace of the combat. So
the gameplay will be totally different?
I think it feels familiar. I mean, it feels like a Darksiders game, but because we've added so much, there's a lot of armor and weapons that sort of changes the feel of combat a little bit. We've added skill trees now, so you can focus on whether you want to focus on physical attacks or magic. You can add that to your combat, so it really is. It's so much more customizable. It's different. I wouldn't say it's totally different because the response of the attack still feels, you know, like a Darksiders game. I just think he's a much quicker character. I think you know, so far from testing it, like, people have reacted very well to it.
Yeah, can you explain the difference between working on Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2, and did the job change between the two games?
Oh, it changed a bit, yeah. You know, Darksiders, when we started the first game, our team was very, very small, so we were still hiring people. We were working on the tools. We hadn't really made a game like Darksiders before, so we made a lot of mistakes. And it was a very exciting time, but it was very difficult too, because we were just, you know, learning as we went. On Darksiders 2, you know, we had the team, we had the tools, we had already made the game before, we were very experienced, and we didn't make a lot of the same mistakes, so it let us focus on the game quite a bit more. And, you know, I was involved a lot more on the second one as a director, more so than actually hands-on every little thing, and that's fine, because, you know, our team is so good at this point. Like, it doesn't really require, you know, me being in there messing with their stuff, because they're really good.
And so you drew less conceptual art on Darksiders 2, did you let another team work on it?
I think there's less on Darksiders 2, partially just because the game is so big. We have so many more characters and weapons and armor. I tried to focus on a lot of the story characters, you know, Death, obviously, Despair, a lot of the custom characters, but a lot of the other ones.
And can we expect another book with your drawings in the future?
We do have a Darksiders 2 art book that's coming out. Yeah.
Signed by Joe Madureira and other artists, or just your drawing?
Oh, no, it's all of our artists.
Okay.
Concerning the game design, is there something new or different from Darksiders?
The design of the game has changed quite a bit. You know, we basically expanded on a lot of the first game. We have, you know, as I mentioned, there's skill trees, there's loot or treasure, there's armor and weapons that drop. When you equip them, it's visible on the character. And even the structure of the game is a little more open. We have towns with quest NPCs now. You can get side quests that, you know, aren't part of the main story. So it just feels a lot more the whole world is a lot more interactive now.
But the artistic direction is still the same.
Yeah, we didn't really change the visual style as much. I think we expanded it in that, you know, the first game took place on Earth, so we had a lot of like photo reference and things, whereas on the second game it's all fantasy world. We got the concept of everything, so it's a lot more impressive, I think.
Do you still planning to adapt the world of Darksiders in movies or comic books?
We have, there's a novel coming out, a novel series, so you'll be reading books pretty soon. There's Dark Horse is publishing a Darksiders comic book, which they're going to be releasing pretty soon. And as far as movies, I have no idea. Like that THQ kind of handles all that stuff. We at the studio, we just work on the game, but we're hopeful. I would love to see a movie or a TV show or something. That'd be cool.
And do you work in the comic books?
I just I didn't do any artwork for it. I did the cover, and you know, I have oversight into it, but I didn't directly work on it.
Darksiders 2, the parallel sequel to the first episode, when you're playing that, as you seem to enlarge the franchise, can we expect another Darksiders game in the future? Are you working on Darksiders 3 or 4? Prequel, sequel, anything?
Yeah, well, you know, we're not really ready to announce our plans after Darksiders 2. I think that a lot of it will depend on, you know, the success of the second game, obviously. But, you know, I mean, we would love to have a chance someday to do another Darksiders game, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we can talk about it.
But you already had some concept designs and maybe a story to a possible Darksiders 3?
Oh yeah, you know, you always kind of have to plan a little bit ahead of, you know, the game that you're making, so we have ideas. Stuff going on.
Really? You worked for a long time in the video game industry and the comic book industry. Looking back, which of the two gives you the most freedom for your work?
Well, I think the most freedom would be comics, for sure. You know, I think I have, you know, it just costs millions and millions of dollars to make games. There's a huge team, there's meetings, you argue about stuff. No, do this. There's, you know, publishers' involvement, marketing. You know, it's a lot more, you know, there's less freedom, I would say. Just like if you're working on a film, there's like, it's a very like concise vision, and there's you know, a lot of people working on it. In comics, there's just a few people working on it. Usually, you know, you get the story. I mean, as an artist, I just draw the story, and almost never does anyone ask me to change anything. So it's probably like the most direct, you know, outlet that there is for, you know, writers and artists. I mean, what I draw is what you get in your hands, you know. So I think freedom-wise, comics wins for sure.
And what is your favorite apocalypse writer?
I like Death. It's a lot more, whenever I play RPGs, I always play like a rogue or an assassin, so, you know, I like the light, quick characters, but I love war too. They're all cool.
And have you maybe some ideas for the other writer? War and Death and...
We have, you know, I think in the art book you can see the other two, Fury and Strife are in there. One of them is female. So, you know, I really hope that we get a chance to flesh them out, because they're pretty cool. I do like Strife as well. He has the guns. But yeah, we have fleshed them out a little bit.
I had one last question, but you stole my last question, because I was gonna ask, in what ways working in video games is different than comics? That's pretty much the same question, but do you, I'm not talking about the pressure or anything, but do you work differently? Do you make a quick sketch or layouts or anything first for video games too? And did you change your method of drawing for Darksiders?
Yeah, you know, on comics I can just pretty confidently go in and draw like a finished page. But with games, obviously, you don't want to take something too far because there's a lot of discussions that has to happen along the way. So you do a few loose drawings, talk about it. This isn't going to work because you have to do this, and then you're like, okay, let me try this. And basically, there's a couple of meetings that happen, and you bring other people into it, animators, whatever. And then once everyone agrees, then you can do like a tight drawing, and even that gets changed sometimes. You never know. Games are crazy, because sometimes the plan sounds fun, and then when you play it, it's terrible, and then you're like, what are we gonna do? So it's a lot more problem solving, constant problem solving, and obviously comics, it's like Spider-Man crashes through the window. Okay, that's pretty easy,
You don't talk back about the writer, about his script. You don't talk with the writer for the comics.
It really depends what I'm working on. It's like sometimes I write it myself. Sometimes with Marvel avenging Spider-Man, Zeb sends the script, and like I'll talk to him if I have questions or whatever. But usually it's pretty straightforward. Unless I absolutely hate something or whatever, then I'll offer like a different idea. But I've been lucky to work with really good writers. With Zeb Wells specifically, I just try to he has a lot of comedy in there, and sometimes it's hard to pull off a joke, and make it funny. So I always worry that I'm going to ruin the joke and not make it funny. So that's been pretty challenging, but fun.
Okay.
And after Darksiders II, what are your projects for the future?
I'm kind of at a weird point because all my projects are secret or unannounced. Obviously we wrapped up Darksiders II, so we're planning for the next game, which I can't talk about. And then Marvel, I'm doing a project, that, as I've already mentioned, is a team up with Spider-Man and Wolverine, but I can't talk about what book that's for. So I'm kind of stuck. I can't really talk about my future plans, but it's all good stuff. It's fun stuff. So.
It's a video game project and comic book project.
Correct.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Okay, you are so busy.
I am. Yes.
Which game would you be proud to have made?
Whew. Which game would I have been proud to have made? Well, I wish I made World of Warcraft. So I'd be rich right now. Lots of money. I spent a lot of time playing that game. But yeah, I don't know.
Which class in World of Warcraft? Which character?
I was Rogue. It's my main, of course. Horde.
So, which race? No, race. Je sais plus comment on dit. Elf or Tauren or.
Yeah, race. Yeah, right. Well, the last rogue that I made was undead, but also I tried a human. I tried a blood elf.
For the Horde.
I prefer the Horde. Yeah.
So I have a last question. Can you give me just one reason to play to Darksiders 2?
One reason to play Darksiders 2. You get to play as a horseman of the apocalypse, killing angels, demons, but you get to use demon weapons, angel weapons. It's cool. There's really no other game like it, I think. So.
Sometimes it's fun to be the bad guy.
It is. It is. It's cool because you're still doing a good thing, but you kind of feel like a villain somehow.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay. So that's it.
Just another question. After long work on Marvel series, why just drawing a few covers instead of designing several games?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I noticed you drew some covers for Marvel video games. why not designing several games?
Oh, you know, a lot of, obviously, like, working on a game is such a huge commitment. Sometimes, you know, there's just no time. But if I can do a cover or whatever, and I can fit it into my schedule, like, I usually would love to do it, you know. And sometimes that's all I have time to do is just the cover. So.
Thanks.
Okay.